Pushpa Raj Pradhan, sir, welcome to Gorkha Spirit.
Thank you.
MCC Vice President Fatema Sumar is arriving here. What's the reason behind this visit?
The Nepal government had inked this MCC Nepal Compact in 2017, but that had to be endorsed by the Parliament 2 years ago. That has not been yet endorsed from the Parliament, and the government is buying time. Every time the government of authorities are asking for more time to endorse from the Parliament, and the reason behind this her visit is to put pressure on Nepali authorities to endorse that from the Parliament. I believe so. But this is a 500 million grant project. No country will give grant without any interest. Along with inking on the agreement, the academicians in Nepal have become alert while going through the terms and conditions mentioned in the agreement. There are some points in the agreement are very controversial. The intellectuals believe that this will the MCC project will be above the law, and that will be also above the constitution also. So they say that this should not be endorsed from the Parliament. If once it is endorsed from the Parliament, it will be above the law. It will be considered as a law. And the other thing is that if the American grant project is endorsed from the Parliament, then other countries also with same purpose, who come here with grant, they will also ask the same. They will also put forward the same term and condition to be rectified from the Parliament. And if so, won't be possible. So, and also the MCC project has some conditions that once earlier the government should spend on the project, and once they are convinced, the audit should be conducted by the American, and after audit clearance only Nepal will receive money. In that money will be endorsed by the re-endorsed by the American government. If the audit report will not endorse that project, then Nepal may not get the amount Nepal has already been spent. And during that time also, while rectifying the accounts, that time also America may impose some conditions like, look, Nepal should go for liberal economy, Nepal should go for transparency, or Nepal should change this finance minister. This sort of condition they may put forward. So our intellectual sector are afraid of these possible terms and conditions. Yeah.
Okay. She claims that no deadline extensions for MCC project. Why are Americans so merciful for Nepal?
Look, time and again the deadline has been extended. Earlier, before last year, that should have been endorsed. This project is for 5 years, and they were saying that if we don't start work within right now, then we cannot complete the project in 5 years. But later on, they extended the project. This is just like they are they put pressure on the government for early endorsement, but again and again they are extending the time. So we cannot say that this is the deadline. Otherwise, they are free to take back their project, because it is not easy. I believe it is not easy for either for Deva or any other government to endorse this from the parliament, because the parliament is divided, the political leaders are divided. Even in the ruling party, like the alliance of this ruling party, Madhav Nepal and Pushpa Dal Prachanda, they are against MCC. They are saying that the MCC cannot be endorsed, should not be endorsed in as it is. So just last week, Madhav Nepal spoke on MCC. He said that MCC only can be endorsed after some amendments. So the parliament is divided, and when Shervadu Deva tried to include this MCC project in the common minimum program of the government, that time also Pushpa Kamal Dal and Madhav Nepal, they opposed, and they said that if you will try to impose this, then this coalition partnership may break. So they later on the Deva was unable to include this project in common minimum program of the government. So it is not. I don't think that so easily it will be endorsed. But Americans are lobbying and putting pressure on our government and other authority, high-level dignitaries for its early implementation.
Okay, why are the Nepalese leaders lingering to pass the MCC? Are they really patriotic or just bargaining?
Look, there are two groups, I believe. One group is bargaining with the Americans, like, and another group, they are really patriotic group. Talking about Pushpa Kamal Dal Prachanda, he is saying he is facing different problems, like human rights violation during this the war conflict era, 10 years of People's War period. He is facing different charges, court cases on the charge of violation of the human rights. He is seeking mass amnesty from the government, and the government without backing from the Westerners, it is not possible. Violation of human rights, is not granted as a minor crime, so it is not possible. When Prachanda visited America, a special order was issued by the state government there for not investigating on, or for not initiating this human rights violation case during Prachanda's stay in America. So he is not free to travel to the European countries and Australia, even Australia. He had to cancel his flights, at the last hour to visit, when he was planning to visit to Australia. So he is facing different problems. Many Maoist leaders are facing such problems. They are not able to visit European countries, So Prachanda wants you know, this, mass amnesty, and he is seeking American consideration on this, mass amnesty. So this is a sort of bargaining. But other section of intellectuals, they are really raising, serious questions, like the question of transparency, to the question of, Indo-Pacific, strategy, whether this grand project is associated with, linked with this Indo-Pacific strategy or Quad. They wants to, the American government should make clear on this, The American government should make clear those questions raised by those academicians. Look at the social networks, they are debating on, this issue as much, we can read,
Okay. Will Nepal become the base for anti-China activities as predicted?
Nepal, if there will be a weak leadership, if there will be a non-visionary leadership in Nepal, then obviously Nepal will become the center of anti-China activities. Like in the past, I give you some example. When there was king's rule, the king had clearly maintained, one red line, like Chinese were not allowed to go to the south, and Indians were not allowed to go to the north, and foreigners were not allowed to visit some restricted area in Rolpa and others, There were some restricted area banned for the foreigners. And the institution of monarchy played a very balanced role in establishing equidistant relations with two immediate neighbors. But after the democracy, multi-party democracy in 1989, our leaders were found, totally tilt with Indians. They started to visit Delhi first, then only, other countries and China. So they destroyed our foreign policy mechanism, our foreign policy strategies, So, and even, what the fact is that, Nepal has become the transit point of, Tibetans going to India, and those Tibetans returning from Dharmasala via Nepal and entering again to Lhasa. And in 2008, we saw, bloodbath in Lhasa. It was very horrible bloodbath. And those Tibetans, anti-Chinese, involved in anti-Chinese activities, they developed Nepal as a center of, their, transit center to visit and to even to gather arms. So Nepal is a very sensitive zone. If our leaders will not take care of it, if our administrators and our administration will not take care of it seriously, then obviously Nepal will be the center for those anti-China activities, activists. And also, we see, like in 1975, we already saw Khampa problem. This Khampa force was supported by the Americans. Again, we saw 2008, bloodbath in Lhasa. So that was also, because of, Nepal, became the transit. And when there is weak government in Nepal, that time, or when there is the government supported by or tilt to Indo-West groups, that time, we have seen, Nepal has become the center for anti-China activities. Also, just recently, on 1 September, the present cabinet led by Sher Babu Deva has constituted a committee to investigate on Nepal-China border dispute in Dolpa. But this is, on time. I believe that it is not timely, because I believe it is an attempt to divert people's sentiment towards China also, that not only India, China also has encroached Nepali border, which is totally false, because when Sujil Koirala was the Prime Minister, and the very issue was raised. The fact is that the Chinese side has in this so-called disputed area, the Chinese side has constructed some houses, buildings in their area, and but some suspicious people are saying that this is the Chinese side has constructed the buildings in Nepali territory, which is later on proved, it has been proved wrong, because later on it was found that Nepali border inspection team found that the border has not been encroached, and the buildings have been constructed there in the Chinese side, not in the Nepali side. The Nepali side had some members from the Nepali Congress, led by the Jivan Bahadur Sai, had visited that place. My source said that Jivan Bahadur Sai visited that site by chartering helicopter, from where he brought helicopter to visit the said to be disputed area. It means that he is being used by some foreign forces. He is receiving money to say so, so that not only India but also China has also encroached Nepal's soil. This is the main reason, and without going through the past evidences, to constitute such a committee by the Nepal government, by the cabinet, it is very very worrisome thing, because this will, I believe, this sort of activities will not only destroy our foreign policy, but our relations with immediate neighbor China will become very cold. Maybe the Chinese side may take it negatively. So without consulting with China, without going through the past evidences, to constitute such a committee is very, very wrong idea. When Sushil Koirala was the Prime Minister, that time also the NC-led government had formed inspection team, border inspection team, including the representative from the survey department and police department, security department also. But that team found that there was no encroachment, and later on the government the foreign ministry issued one statement that there was no border encroachment. Again, when this issue was raised 9 months ago, that time also the government team had sent one survey team there, represented by different organs, government organs, including security organs. And also, I have been informed that the Nepal army, which is looking after Nepali territory these days, had also sent one survey team, armies under army. That team also found that there was no wrong with from the Chinese side. Chinese side had not encroached Nepal's area, but the constructions were built in this Chinese area. But without tallying, without verifying this sort of, our domestic documents, to announce another constitution of another committee is very, sad.
Thank you, sir, for joining with us.
Welcome very much for the opportunity.